Good morning, you lovely, lovely people. It's Saturday morning and it is a few hours before the funeral of Ian. So, although I can't attend it, I'm too far away, I will be thinking of him. The funeral's at 10 o'clock this morning, people. Anyway, I saw a foreigner yesterday. I see quite a lot of foreigners when I go into the city, but yesterday I was in, City Hardware and I was getting some tiles just for out here, where the stainless will eventually go, the railings. And he recognised me from my Facebook from my YouTube, not Facebook. I rarely go on Facebook. And he was saying that about the reasons why we come here. We were talking for a little while, and he asked me why I come here. And I think I've said to you many times before, I didn't know where I was going. I just wanted to get out of the UK because of the way that the UK has become for me. And I think if you're like a younger person, coming to live in the Philippines wouldn't really suit you at all. It's just my opinion, because when you're younger, you have more fun in your own country. You go out with your mates, you go clubbing, you do this, you do that. You have a damn good time, don't you? When you get a little bit older, those things kind of subside a little bit, don't they? You don't really fit in a nightclub. Not really, especially in England. You don't. They look at you as an old twat. What's he doing? Look, what's he doing? And probably give you really peculiar looks. But when you get a bit older, like us, and you come to these countries, and again, I think many people, I'm just assuming, many people might come here for dating because they might find it hard to find someone in their own country. Because let's be honest about it, people. Many women in the West are not as talkative, not as friendly, not as outgoing, and might have higher standards. I shouldn't have said that, but it's true. I'm being honest here. Whereas here, because of the colour of your skin, you instantly become, I'm probably the size of your wallet. And, because of where you come from, you kind of instantly become maybe, what should I say? Should I say a target? Should I say a target? I'm going to say a target for a Filipino lady, because they see you as someone to maybe take care of them, take them out of where they are. But it's changing here, people. In the 8 years I've been here, it's changing, meaning more and more of the women, the Filipino women, especially in the cities, they are getting good jobs with slightly higher salaries, so they really don't need people to take them out of that place. In the provinces, it's a little bit different, but my wife knows a lot of people here, and many of these girls here, they've said to my wife, and I've heard them say it, that they wouldn't date a foreigner. They want to stay with their own, and why not? Quite right too, because I think if you're with a woman and she's only with you because you're going to take her out of that poverty, so to speak, then it might not be a true relationship, mightn't it? Might not be. When I met my wife, don't forget, I'd lost a lot of money in the situation that I was in, like in the scam I was involved in, that I was scammed out of. So I didn't have a lot of money, really. And we didn't really go out a lot or anything like that, because I wasn't going to flash anything around to make her believe that I was rich, because I wasn't, and I'm not. So when Mira got with me, she knew my circumstances as such, that I wasn't a rich foreigner. I haven't got a pension. So there was no purpose for my wife to stay with me if that was the reason why she wanted to stay with me, to take her out of, or to give her a better time financially. Like I said, many foreigners, when they come here, they build a house and they build it very quickly. This took me 3 to 4 years to finish this house. And that was purely because I didn't have that lump sum to do it. And it's not, to me, it's not a case of get it finished like it is in the West. I was hinai lang. I was slowly, you know. When I wanted to do a little bit more, I did a little bit more. When I didn't want to do anything, I didn't. There is no rush. There is no competition, as far as I'm concerned. So I just did this house as and when. And now it's finished. There's just some little odds and sods to do, but we finally got there. And it didn't break the bank to a degree. But getting back to this guy that I was talking to, and he was saying the reason he come here, and this is what he said to me, was because where he lived in, and he's an American guy, he said where he lived in America, there was no sense of community. So he come here for a sense of community with the people. So I said, well, how are you finding that? I said, do you fit in with the local community? He said, yeah. But he said it wasn't what he thought. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, he finds it hard to get on with his wife's family. Okay, I said, yeah, you can join the club. I join the club on that one. Although I do get on with them, I just don't like the way they are sometimes. But I said, well, what about the people outside? He said, well, yeah, but he says, you know, what he sees is when he sees the people outside in the saris, he's got this feeling that they just want him to sit there, so he buys the drinks, which is probably, you know, it's not too far from the truth. But so he said to me, you know what? I said, well, I get on with the local people, you know, because the local people here, although they look at me as a foreigner and they think that I have not wealthy because they know my situation, I tell them all the time, I said, I've got no pension, you know, I do a little bit of work, I do a little bit of this, bit of that, you know, to earn my income, but I haven't got a pension. So they know that I'm not a wealthy foreigner. So they don't look at me as if, Stephen, come over here, buy us a drink. They don't do that. They used to. I must admit they did until because they said, oh, you got plenty of money, or this, that, and the other. I said, I haven't. And anyway, so I get on with the local people here very, very well. I really do. And I fit into the community as best as a foreigner can be expected to fit into a community. You know, like I said before, you know, we will never be truly part of the gang because we can't. There's the communication breakdown. So let's just say you're sat with with your Filipino friends, and when they're not drinking, people, they kind of quiet, and their English is very, 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 you know, gamay. You know, it's not big. But when they've had a drink, the English comes out and the friendliness comes out. So, you know, in other words, have a drink and their inhibitions get less and they talk to you more. And then you see them the next day, they probably won't talk to you at all because they haven't had a drink. That's the way it is. But I fit in here very well. And as I've said before, it's nice to be part of the community. It's nice to fit in. Go and see your barangay captain, things like that. You know, make yourself known here or wherever you are, you know. Don't be a twat, you know. Don't start shouting your mouth off and things like that to the Filipinos because it's just not going to work out well for you. If you come here and you can't deal with the way it is here and you start getting abusive or you start raising your voice or you start venting opinions in a you know, like a vicious manner, it's not going to work for you. It's not. You know, you're going to make a lot of enemies. And I will say this as well. If you upset a Filipino, they don't forget. They truly don't forget. So just, you know, for me being here, yeah, I struggle sometimes with the language barrier. Even with my wife sometimes, you know, we have conversations, not often. And I'll tell you this, it's not deep conversations, but we don't need deep conversations, do we? I'm not a serious person. I'm really not. Why do I want to have deep conversations, meaningful conversations, when I've got no deep, meaningful conversations to talk about? I just get on with my life. I'm a happy-go-lucky type of a guy. I enjoy what I do. There is nothing in my mind where I need to talk deeply about something. You guys might be different, but I'm not. You know, I didn't come here to be a serious John. And I don't mean John as a name, as in, you know, like, I mean a serious person, a serious Bob or Alan or anybody. I didn't come here for that. I come here just to let my hair down. I'm fucking losing my hair. Look, it's okay. Okay for a mid 50-year-old, I suppose. I've got hair. But I didn't come here to be a serious person. I come here to be more liberated in myself, meaning I don't have to pay this and pay that and have to go to work like all the time, be a slave to the machine, a slave to the wage, or a slave for the wage. I just come here because I like this way of living. And it's a very basic way of living. It's very basic. But I've got all of the amenities that I had in the UK, meaning I've got a shower, hot water shower. I've got electric. I've got fridges. I've got this. I've got that. I've got every amenity that I did in the West. But because of the brownouts, the amenities don't work half the time, do they? Because there's no damned electric to run the damn things. That doesn't bother me either. But I can understand it does bother a lot of people. But if you move closer to the cities or you're in the city, you don't get as many brownouts. Simple as that. In these provinces, you can get them at any time, even if it's sunshine. Like today is sunshine. You still could get a brownout. And you think, why is there a brownout? There's no wind, there's no rain, there's nothing that's come down on a line. But you never know. It just happens here. It just happens. And another thing that I don't do, and you guys know this, I say this, like I don't mix with foreigners. I don't have. I mean, I talk if I see them, hello, but I don't. I'm not part of a foreign community here, and I never want to be. I don't want to be. To me, what's the point in wanting to be part of a foreign community when you're in a foreign country and you're getting all the shit? You're getting, this, that, I don't like this, I don't like that, or do you know this and that? I don't like that. I don't like gossip, and I don't like people slagging things off. I don't like it. And the way to avoid it is just not to get involved in the first place. That's what I think. Don't get involved. There is foreign communities all over the place in the Philippines. In every single barangay, well, not barangay, but every province you go into, like in the city, Dipolog City, there's a big foreign community there, and they gather every morning on the boulevard and they talk. And I went there once or twice, I think, ages ago, and I sat there and I listened. I think, what a load of shit. What a load of shit. They're all complaining. They're all complaining about something. I'm thinking, what? I want to say, well, why are you here? But then it's going to cause a confrontation, isn't it? And I don't like confrontation. I don't like it. Life's too short for arguing, confrontation. It's far too short. It's far too short to be serious all the time, isn't it? What's the point in trying to moan about something and try and change something that you can't? It's pointless worrying about things you can't change. Worry about the things you can change, or be concerned about the things you can change, not the things you can't. It's a waste of energy. You'll never be able to change things here. You won't. And you don't even think you can. Don't even think you can, because come here, live in the Philippines or live anywhere you want and just fit in with that community, Because like I said, you're never going to be able to change it. And why on earth would you? Why would you want to come to a foreign country for the reasons that you did and then want to change it into the country that you've just left? Why do you want to do that? I mean, I've been here now. I don't know if it's 8 years, but I don't know if it's 9 years this year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I think it could be 9 years this year. It is. I mean, 2026 now, aren't we? It is. It's 9 years this year. 17, I come here, 2017, May 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is. I come here in May 2017. May 2026 is 9 years, isn't it? And I've never, even when I was scammed when I first come here, I never thought I hate the Philippines. I never thought that. Never. Because I don't. You can't judge one person and thinking everyone else is the same. You can't judge everyone as the same by one person, I mean to say. You simply can't do it. So coming here it is challenging for some people. For me, because I'm so easygoing, I fit in. I do. I can fit in anywhere. I can really, honestly. It doesn't matter where I'm at, I can fit in. I don't try and change. I don't try and mold them around me. I try and mold myself around where I'm at. You know, the the situation I'm in or the people I'm around. I try and mold myself around that, not the other way around, because it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. It's the same as the workmanship here. You know, if you thinking of getting first class workmanship like you do in your own country, forget it. Forget it, because they just don't train for it. You know, they don't have like an apprenticeship and things like that. They just learn from the person who they've been watching or working with. Like a labourer might have been, watching a mason here, and they aren't going to learn a lot. But when the buildings are finished, they do look okay, and they do stand up to earthquakes. Like most of them. I hope mine does. We've had a few bad earthquakes here, and it's been okay. No cracks, anything like that. But, don't expect first class things like you get in your own country, like first class services, first class, when you go to a restaurant or anything. Just don't expect it. You might get it, but if you don't moan about it, because you're not in your own country. You're somewhere else. You are a guest. We are a guest. Doesn't matter what visa we are on. We are a guest until we become, if you want, citizens of the country. And after 10 years, you can apply for citizenship. If the Philippines, if you haven't been out or something like that, if you haven't been out of the Philippines for 10 years and you've been here all the time and you've got a bit of a state, you've got like an investment into something, you can apply for citizenship. I've been looking into it, and you might think, stupid bastard, but I've got no intentions of living back in the UK. No intentions. But then, if I went for citizenship, then my boy would lose his dual nationality, wouldn't he? And that's not a good thing. And the British passport is more powerful than the Philippine passport. Got many countries without having to apply for visas, so it doesn't really make sense, does it? But I'm on a 13A. It gives me enough clout here. I can work, I can do this, I can do that. I can do a lot of things that a tourist can't. And you are looked at differently. When you go into a bank and you do bank accounts, it's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. 13A, you will always be on a hidey high. Hidey high visa, come on, campers. You'll always be on that kind of, that's how they see you, and it is. It's the same as if you get stopped in a checkpoint. When I was on a tourist visa 4 years ago, whenever it was, 3 years ago, tourist, yeah, where you staying, blah, blah, blah. I was stopped the other day, actually, and showed them, and my license, and I said, I'm a resident. I said, all right. And you are treated differently. You really are. It's like, I think one step up. I think it's one step up, when you're applying for things, I was even offered. I went to a motorbike shop. When was it? Monday. I think it was there Monday. And I was thinking about getting a little scooter, right? Only just for here, not for the highway, just to go from here to the shop, rather than getting in the car and all that sort of stuff. I was just thinking about getting one. And I went in, and they said, "Sir, can I help you?" I said, "I'm just looking." I said, I'm not buying, I'm just looking. Okay. And I said, I said, all of these deals are quite good. And they said, yeah. And I said, can foreigners get finance here? I was just asking. And they said, no, not really, or unless you're a resident. I said, I am a permanent resident. They said, oh, well, that's no problem, sir. Now, I don't know. I mean, I didn't get the bike. I wouldn't get a bike on finance or anything like that, because, when you get things on finance, you're buying money, aren't you? You're buying money because you're paying more back. So, but anyway, I could have gotten finance, no problem, but I didn't. And I kind of went against the bike idea because, excuse me, even from here to there, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I didn't. Oh, he's the fish person. Now, I've got to catch the fish person. He'll stop here. For my wife wants to buy some fish. And she sent me out here. That's why I'm doing a video now. To buy the fish. They stopped. So listen, people. Enjoy your day. Have a thought for Ian if you knew Ian living in the Philippines. It's his funeral today at 10 o'clock. A terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy. And I'm still in shock with it, to be honest with you. Ian living in the Philippines. And I can't forget about it, because every day one of his videos comes up in my feed. And I see him on there, the dad jokes. And you just never know what's going on in someone's mind. And it only takes one simple thing to push someone that extra step over the top where they do take their own life. So you know, have a thought for people. It's easy to smile at someone than to scowl at somebody. Even if you're feeling shit yourself, it's easy to show a bit of affection because you don't know what they're going through. I've got to go, otherwise he's going to go and my wife will go on me. Listen, people, have a great day. Over and out. Bye.